GH Squad podcast episode 16. It's actually a duo cast, just Mason and me. We're going to finish up the LA Auto Show storylines and California Spring Trials mashup that we started last week. And really, the more I think about it, the more similarities I see. And I need something to get me psyched up for Spring Trials this year because I feel like after 20 years, it's hard to find storylines that are new and fresh. There's new varieties, but a lot of times we're going to be seeing same trends that we've seen over the last 3 or 4 years, which is probably how trends works. I don't know. I'm going to ask you here in a little bit to give me some ideas, some questions that I might ask to dig a little bit deeper below the surface. Yeah, if you missed last week's episode, sort of a part one to this one, jump back in the archives, get caught up. Every week, we look at the industry, the horticulture industry, from different angles and bring our unique styles to the table. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And if you're not following us on Instagram at GH Squad Pod, it is time. In fact, it's way past overdue. Follow us on Instagram. Mason, how's the week so far?
No, it's great. It's, despite we're getting a blizzard supposedly over the weekend here. So when you see this on Monday, hopefully I'm not snowed in. But no, week's been good. Like we talked about last week, like March is a good month, especially for those of us that don't travel to spring trials, where it's like some good time to work on stuff. So I'm appreciative of that. And my home projects are almost coming to fruition. Kids are good. Yeah. And we had 70 degrees here on Monday. So we were outside playing. Now it's good.
Yeah, it's crazy weather that can go from 70 to 35 to 60 to 40 to maybe snow.
They say that we're supposed to get like record-setting snow north of here this
That's
week.
crazy. Well,
in March.
I will say that your week has been great and you're looking forward to a couple more weeks. I, on the other hand, am scrambling because we leave for vacation tomorrow morning and next week is vacation week, which means I was trying to get 2 weeks worth of work done this week because I think that's just how it has to go. When you take vacation, you got to be ready for vacation and so that you're not coming back buried in work. And then after vacation, I'm flying straight from Florida to California Spring Trials. So you guys get all the snow you want. I'm going to be sitting in 80-degree weather for the next probably 14 to 16 days.
It's all right because we didn't get hit with the East Coast storms. I feel like we're low on snow this year. We probably need it.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I did think I had to say, Bill, that when you were talking about spring trials, I thought back to the Anchorman line where they're all sitting there and they're like, we've been coming to the same party for the last 10 years. And in no way is that depressing.
Depressing. It's kind of true. It's kind of true. And it is fun. I mean, I look forward to it. I mean, I'm traveling with Chris, Jen, and Osvaldo. How bad can it be, right?
It won't be bad.
No, we're going to have a good time. We'll eat some of the same food that we like and talk to all the industry people that can't wait to see every year. We'll make videos and newsletters and it's going to be fun. I'm actually looking forward to spring trials, but I do need to figure out like some new questions to ask, and some new ways to talk about the trends and the plants because saying that they're more naturally compact and require fewer PGRs and are 7 days earlier and bench front uniformity, those kind of terms are overdone. They're probably going to be used again. But I mean, I need to figure something else out.
Like, and they always joke about like if you're on LinkedIn, I see like the tech companies and like corporate business have like their jargon. Like, can't wait to follow back or circle back on this and all this. Ours is packed tight out of the rack. It's gonna be this. Gonna stay a little around early to Spain.
Laser level uniformity. Ship them all the exact same day.
Same time. Yeah.
The blooms will come within 5 minutes of each other on every single one of these 26 colors. Like
I think my question idea for you. Now I get it. You're going as a magazine or as a publishing company.
Yeah.
It's not just a magazine. So there's some politicking you got to do. My question as an outsider, and it has to start like this, is in conversation, it goes, but what does it do? And I say that because obviously we talk about how it looks, how's it going to ship, whatever. But I keep saying more and more, and I see this too, and I hear this from my non-plant friends, is that like functional plants, plant, like whether it doesn't mean it has to be edible, but like, okay, hey, this, is meant to cover up these spots in your yard, or hey, this is going to eat a lot of space on the ground. I think that's a key. Plants that answer that question of like, But what does it do? Actually, like, I think there's another level to there. And as the famous Marvin Miller says, plants not just pretty. So that's one that I'm interested to hear. What are all these? What all these new varieties do?
And I think actually asking that question will challenge the presenter to think about it, because I'm sure that most of the time they'll come up with an answer and it'll be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, what does this plant do? Well, it overwinters in zone 2. And you're like, what? Like, how's that even possible? And they'll be like, yeah, we trialed it in like northern Canada. And you're like,
For all
okay,
the
I get it.
1,500 people that live in zone 2.
Yeah, but then again, that just tells you that that plant is a beast.
Yeah.
Like, no, I like that. I'm going to use that. I will ask at every trial stop that question once.
And I'm
And if you
interested to
watch
see.
our videos, you'll probably hear me answer, like give the answer.
It'll also help, I think, because this is another side. You get it sometimes, but it'll help to answer some of the consumer
Mhm.
facing. Because, like, at spring trials, yes, 90% of the people that roll through there are growers, retailers, like it's wholesale side. You do get some
Of
university
course.
folks and some garden clubs that are more consumer oriented. But I think the what does it do question, if you come back and answer with it, like, you put 77,000 on a rack, that's not what does it do. And that's
Right.
not something that a home gardener cares about. But if somebody truthfully answers like, this is what it does, okay, this is now I know when my non-plant friends are like, hey, do you got a recommendation for this? Or what plants do you recommend? And I'm like, here's this. And they're
Mhm.
like, oh, what does it do? Boom, I got an answer for them. And like, that's the message that they're looking at.
I like that. So playing that out, if I say, and what does this do? And the answer is, you can put 77,000 on a rack. What's my follow up? Like, how do I explain the word do?
I think there's a part of me that's it's a little messy, and this is where I don't know if you can do this. As I think I look them dead in the eye and I go, yeah, but what does it do?
Right,
Because
which I can do that, but they're probably gonna just stare at me.
I know they're gonna be
But
like,
the
wow, this
do
guy's a
is like,
jerk.
what tangible benefit does this
Yeah.
bring? Like, and I could just keep, like you said, I can keep asking until I get to
Well,
like the
I think
real
I think
do.
for those that are maybe a bit daft, that you could lay it out and say like, okay, once this gets to its final destination,
Mhm.
where this plant is gonna live out the rest of its days. What does it look like? What is it doing in that landscape? And I think
Yeah.
people would be like, oh, or why is it there?
Mhm.
Because that's where, like, I don't know, we have sometimes, sometimes as an industry, and I know all industries are guilty of this. This is not just us, but I think we have products for product's sake where we're like,
Oh yeah.
oh yeah, this is a really sweet color, and I think that
Mhm.
we lean on that. Then at the end of the day, some of those things, don't get me wrong, a great color of something is a great selling point, but after a couple seasons, that can lack the punch of okay, like, look at wave petunias, right?
Mhm.
Like, the reason why we're what, 90 to 26, 36?
Yeah.
I could do that because I was born in 1990. I don't even think it's 1990, but I know that's close. So you're in your 30s, right?
Mhm.
And Wave turned 30 this year.
Yeah.
Sorry.
30.
So, that plant has staying power because it does something. Like, this is a beautiful, colorful plant that is going to eat a chunk of empty space in your
Yeah.
flower bed. And I think that's where, some of the things were like, oh yeah, here's a new color of X. And it's like, does that have the staying power? And I think if a
Right.
plant can truly answer that it does something, I think it gives it a
Mhm.
leg up. Like, that's a bonus.
Yeah. It's almost like, why should a home gardener buy it? Or why should a landscaper spec it? Like, there's got to be something more than, well, it looks nice in a combo. Well, there's a lot of things that look nice in a combo.
Yeah.
Why this one? And not every plant has to answer that question, but
No,
I think that, yeah, there should be something,
I
especially
think
with new varieties. I mean, you invest so much in
you're
the R&D and the trialing and the teams that work on them and the 7, 8, 9, 10 years of fine tuning the genetics of these introductions. There
and that
has to have been a why somewhere, right? There has to have been a, what does it do? Like, that question must have been asked in one of the 100 meetings. It was about each plant that's being introduced. We're going to see like 200 new introductions in a
well,
row.
and that's where, like, looking back on my spring trials experience, and not that I don't think I ever asked that question because I
Mhm.
was more of just like making it happen. And I
Yeah,
think that's focused more for the breeding companies. But I think now looking back, that would be as somebody setting up a spring trial stop. You're going to have like, I don't know, ball. What did you guys have? Like 200 new introductions, through
probably.
all the companies.
Yeah,
So you can't obviously showcase every one. And I mean,
yeah.
showcase of like you, as long as
Like
things kind of
spotlight
change.
displays. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I think I
You're
would,
picking you're picking 3 per
yeah.
exhibiting company, 4 or
And that
5, but
and that's where I would insist that if you're going to be a spotlight display, that plant has to do something. It
right.
can't just be a tack on. It can't just be a me too. It,
Mhm.
and that's probably controversial, but I think it has to do something.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good question. I will ask that. I've written it down on a Post-it note that I will put, "What does it do?" I will put this in my spring trials notebook. I will ask it.
I mean, number 2 is, have you heard of the GH Squad podcast?
Oh, that question will be asked a lot. Yeah, yeah. Or like, where is the appetizer tray? Like, I'll ask that a lot as well. I just recorded a video with a company a couple days ago, and they were just thanking me profusely for getting it put together and put out quickly. And I was like, okay, I would like an entire appetizer tray with my name on it at the reception. That's all I need. Like, I don't, like, what can we do to thank you? Appetizer tray, preferably tri tip.
I don't want to have to get it off of the past plate every
Yeah,
time.
I want my own. I don't know. We'll see if we can make that happen. I definitely like the eating my way through California spring trials.
Well, and that's
And
where truthfully, like, I always joke, me and Ken Charbonneau, from Western Pulp, we go to all these distributor shows,
Mhm.
and we always joke that we're gonna create a shadow blog that is a ranking of distributors by the food offered at the show, and
Oh,
so because, like, some are very good and some are very bad.
mhm.
So, but you could do the same thing for spring trials. Like here, like maybe anonymous letter. Here's the ranking of stops by plant material, and here is the ranking of stops by food, and you can see
Yeah,
if
but
it
they've
correlates.
all cut back on food over the years.
I know
So
about that.
I know. I will say some do have coffee bars, which are nice at a certain time of day, like before like noon or before 1 p.m. Coffee station, prima. Very, very good call. I get us fired up, ready to record those videos. But what is your favorite like reception hors d'oeuvre snack? Do you have a favorite? Mine is sliders, like little, and I like the like crispy buffalo chicken sliders. Osvaldo
Yeah,
and I were at a reception. I think it was either Walters or Bailey's. Sorry for getting those two confused, competitors, but it was one of the two. And they had an entire like line of little sliders, and we crushed that line. This was Cultivate a couple years ago. Absolutely destroyed it. It was like p.m. It was like, oh wow, yeah, we're hungry.
yeah, all right. I'm gonna start with what I don't want to see these ever again is stuffed mushrooms. Get them away. You got out of here. There's always I hate mushrooms, and two, they're just garbage. I'm not a seafood guy, so I know that there's like crab cakes and shrimp, but
Yeah,
my favorite has, and you see these all over, is some sort of variation on the mini beef Wellington, where it's
yeah,
like in the puff pastry, and then it's
yep.
like a little piece of beef with a little gravy in there. Oh, so good.
hmm No, that's good, and you can eat a bunch of them too.
1,000.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe not 1,000.
that's awesome. 1,000, like just yeah. I don't know about 1,000, but I'll give it a shot. All right, we ready to jump into this LA Auto Show storylines because we
Yeah,
made it through 1 through 5, so we got 6 through 10 to go. And as a recap, so the goal here is the top 10 storylines for the 2026 LA Auto Show, which is considered the biggest show for global trends, even compared to Chicago and Detroit, and then adapting them to our industry and previewing what we think will be seen at California Spring Trials this year. And I'm actually going to take these with me and try to line them up and see how good we are on this. So, number 6, the resurgence of hybrids. Hybrids and plugins emerge as long-term solutions, not temporary bridges, balancing cost, emissions, and convenience. And I was thinking about this. Kind of bummed Seth isn't here today,
I
but
know.
I think it's the resurgence of sustainability. That was like a big message 10 years ago, right? Like, and I think at that time it was ahead of its time. Some of the products hadn't quite caught up to the messaging, but now it's actually, I think, even more important. And it had the technology of sustainability has caught up to the message. And I think people are ready to hear it now, almost like hybrids.
I'm gonna dig down one more level. And I think, because I think your sustainability is right on, and I look at it as from a like plants and sustainability.
Okay.
If you were to say an electric, like an EV, is a
Hmm.
native plant,
Hmm.
your hybrid is a native R. And I think
Okay.
that that's where you could see a lot of stuff. And I mean, it's not that we've had native Rs for decades, but I
Hmm.
think that now with sustainability being at the forefront, a lot of these breeding companies, because it's hard to breed natives, right? Because you're like,
Yeah.
what was here 200 years ago? And it's like, oh, let me breed
Exactly.
that real quick. Well, that doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense. But I think you might have people and companies start taking a look at how do we dust off some of these genetics and improve them a little bit without getting too far removed from what the source material is. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, breeding companies, they're a business. Everybody needs to make
Yeah.
money. And
Yeah.
if their job is to breed plants, and people are like, well, I'm interested in native plants, then these guys are like, well, how do we play in that? And I think
Hmm.
that's where the native R's come in. And
Native
I think
ours.
there should be a resurgence in that. As popularity with natives increases, the development of those plants will increase as well.
I agree. I agree. I think it actually fits in well with the hybrid messaging because you see more and more hybrids, more and more people are asking about it for the benefits and the functionality. I mean, it's the benefit of reducing your input costs, every time you go to fill it up, but also the benefit it does for the environment and the feel good sort of thing behind it. And I do think that, natives kind of work in that same way.
Yeah.
Um,
Like if you had a native plant and you were able to keep everything that everybody loves about it, but breed it so that, basically get a more pure genetic or just a very genetic to say, hey, this has 50% more blooms. And
mm,
people like the native because it's a pollinator plant. If it has 50% more blooms, it's
got
50% more
more
better for
pollinators. Yeah.
pollinators. So
Yeah.
I think that's something I would hope that would be seen.
Yep. I'm with you 100%. All right. Number 7. This might get controversial. Be careful how I word this. Actually, I'm not. I'm just going to word it. I'm just going to say it. Number 7, China's invisible influence. Even with limited presence, needs EV cost and technology, the pressure of Chinese EVs shapes global product and pricing decisions. All right. You want to see how I'm going to spin this to our industry?
I'm terrified.
Big box influence. Products and programs are developed to meet mass market needs. These trends extend beyond big box and trickle down through the rest of them. Yeah, I do think that so much of California spring trials and some of the biggest new introductions over the last 10, 15 years have been due to the influence of mass market. But what I've seen over the last few years is that one of the biggest influences of mass market is a desire for crops that drive traffic in shoulder seasons. So
Yeah.
earlier in the spring, later in the summer and fall, just to get because the big box stores need the foot traffic, right? I
Well,
mean,
that's you think about it.
but I think so do garden centers. So
Yeah.
so does everybody in our industry. Like this is a trend, I think, driven by mass market that is benefiting everybody and really challenging the breeding lines and the way that products are positioned to actually extend the calendar of selling outside of that 6 weeks we always talk about. Like you
Yeah.
got all your time, you got 6 weeks to make all your money. Well, that's crazy to think about in this day and age when you can extend that and
Well,
there's way more to be done around those 6 weeks.
and I think you're totally right, and I think that that box stores have brought that in. Don't get me wrong. There's always been garden centers that did well
Mhm.
with mums or spring pansies or
Sure.
Christmas, but I think that you probably and we still see some that are like that. That is just they're not doing that. However, like you used to see, I mean, people be like, okay, I'm going to be open. I'm just gonna close down in
Oh
July,
yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
what we did. Like, we were growing the
Super
back, sell
seasonal.
out the front, and so we'd fire up the greenhouses in January, and then we'd be done by July because 'cause we'd moved into field vegetable production. But the box store mentality, right? Like, that doesn't work for them because the way they're structured, they have to be making money on their entire retail space the whole time they're there. like,
Yeah.
because they're answering to investors, they're answering to, whether they're leasing the land or they own it. But it's like, oh, to say, hey, here's let's call it a quarter of our footprint of our store, just doesn't make money 3 quarters of the year,
Yeah.
would be outrageous.
Right.
And so I think that's where you do have, I think you had some independent folks and kind of say like, screw fall, screw early spring, like
Yeah.
that. Like it's not worth it. And then now we've seen a resurgence because the box stores need it to be worth it, which has
Mhm.
lent itself to better breeding, better products. It wasn't just mum. It's not just mums anymore. It's not
Yeah.
just pansies. Like there are other plants, other things that are bringing people in, and it's also
Probably better
driven.
messaging, better marketing. They're
Yeah.
continuing to push it out on social media and TV ads and
And I feel like it's made Christmas from our industry better as well. And
Mhm.
even though they're not doing Christmas in the garden center because they're not heating it, at least from a poinsettia standpoint, they
Yeah.
certainly are doing like Home Depot does trees out there now. And I think that that's where for a while, I used to be the only person that like growing up that I knew that had a poinsettia. And
Yeah.
like we didn't even grow them. We just made sure we had one. And now
Right.
I feel like every house that I go into, and again, most of
Yeah.
my friends are non-industry friends. Everybody's got a poinsettia. They're all
Mhm.
bringing something green in for Christmas, and I think that I don't know if the sales say that, but at least I think box stores have people thinking about it again.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and if
uh,
they have kids, they're getting them in fundraisers, like yeah. And I
I
think
really
some
was
of the
go ahead.
other box store driven trends that have made their way throughout the industry are positive too. I think
Mhm.
perennials, like I think the growth of perennials had a lot to do with mass market needing product extended throughout the year, some bigger, some little bit higher priced items. I think that we always joke about like me mentioned it earlier, 70,000 on a rack. Yeah, that need to have a compact plant that's shippable, can be cubed out on a truck and sent to stores has led to, very good breeding when it comes to better branching and really nice, tidy looking plants that probably are driving part of the container market. Like I think that all these things have worked to just grow the industry in general. If China's influencing the hybrid and EV market invisibly, I think that mass market influenced the overall plant mix maybe invisibly as well, but we've seen industry growth.
I was
So
really terrified that I mean, you took China to box stores. I was worried that you were going to ask me about the Chinese businessmen that come to spring trials and chain smoke the cigarettes, but I'm glad we didn't go that far. No,
yeah, I don't think that happens too much anymore.
man, I
Yeah,
remember
sorry.
that good chats that I didn't understand, but
That is
fun
true.
nonetheless.
That is true. Now with Google Translate and Meta glasses, you can have those chats just seamlessly.
I think you dropped this in. Speaking of Meta Glass, what is that?
Meta glasses, I think that it is time for someone to do some California spring trials videos from point of view wearing Meta glasses and recording video as they're looking around the trials. And I think that if you watch social media and maybe follow the hashtags cast 2026, you might see some videos like that saying,
Just saying.
I don't want to say, you know what, we're going to keep that under wraps until it
All right.
happens. Then we'll talk about it. All right, number 8, design reasserts importance. Styling, proportions, and emotional appeal regain prominence after years of tech first sameness. So, again, this is a trend and a storyline having to do with cars. And I think that if you think about it, so much of cars have been, all those like Dodge Ram commercials and stuff. It's like the tech, the screens, all this different sort of integrated technology in the car. And now, according to storyline number 8, design is becoming more important. And I think that, I mean, that's an easy one to relate to our industry, right? Design and color trends drive program development. Styles behind a lot of the new introductions, more now than ever before. I mean, that can be the structure of the plant, the combo
This
designs, that.
this goes back to several things we talked about last week, but it's weird. I gotta know that's weird from the auto trend perspective because I think I'm pretty sure maybe I'm remembering it correctly. I think there was a trend last week about like more tech in cars.
So yeah, No,
So
it's
now we're
true.
like,
It's
oh,
true.
less tech in cars, or I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think for us,
That was the beyond batteries, hydrogen, micro mobility, non-car electrification,
so
mobility, yeah,
but I think
and
that this goes,
software defined vehicles.
yes, like
For every trend, there's a counter trend, right? I mean,
yes.
that's
Well,
legit.
I think this goes back to, for years, it's a counter trend to my counter trend of what does it do? Is that, how pretty is it? But I also
Mhm.
think it's similar to that, in that I think the tech trend in our industry is, how does it get from point A to point B?
Okay.
How
So, like
quick,
supply chain tech.
how a lot of people were focused on how quick does it grow? What's the
Mhm.
germination rate?
Yeah.
What's the yield? How uniform? And I think that
Disease
there
resistance, I think, is a high tech
and
part of
now
hybrid.
that one I don't think you can get rid of, because you're talking about life or death. But I think that some of the other things, whether it's uniformity or pot tight, maybe we see a push away from that to, hey, this is a truly magnificent plant.
Mhm.
However, this is where the auto show differs from the California Spring Trials, is that I think at the auto show, that takes stage more so than it will at the California Spring Trials, because the auto show is a consumer event. Peak
Mhm.
consumers go to that event. Whereas your spring trials is an event geared for wholesale growers. So wholesale growers are focused and thinking about things about, how do I take this product and make a profit on? And
That's
so
true.
while I think some of that consumer messaging gets through, I think this is where maybe the trends, we do see a disalignment of
Yeah.
those, just based on who the final audience is.
No, I agree. I agree. And if you think about a car, like they yes, they are mass produced, right? Like a Ford F-150 is a Ford F-150
Right.
is a Ford F-150. The Ford F-150 has to look different than the Dodge Ram or the Chevy Silverado. Like there has to be a stylistic difference. Whereas interspecific geranium red has to look like interspecific geranium red.
Right.
It has
Right.
to look like
You
wow.
can't, if you got up there and said,
If I disappear, like it's a tornado outside my house right now. I'm like looking out the window and like I'm ready to see a cow blow by, and somehow my lights just changed color in
that's
my
not supposed to
office.
happen.
I know it's not, but it's one of those ones that it's like LED, so it can go from like cool to warm, and it just went from warm to cool. So I don't know what's happening electrically in my house, but
Do you know what? I bet you had like a fraction of a second power influx, because
might have.
we have a fan upstairs, and that's
Yeah,
how you get it to change color, is you flip the switch really fast.
that's
So
funny.
because we lost the remote.
Okay, nice.
The
That
kids
might have
snarfed
happened.
it. So,
Well, but I do think that what you said about maybe the uniformity, I think that uniformity is still going to be important within a series, but we're seeing more standalone products
yeah,
from companies. I think there've always been companies that live and die by standalone products. Like, put this one on a pedestal, it's going to be amazing. Like,
proven winners,
yeah,
right?
yeah, right. Plant Haven. Like these are
Yeah,
amazing companies that just, find that amazing plant and sell it. Whereas there's other companies that they want a full series, 20 colors, but I do think we're seeing more standalone products from those companies that traditionally are series
yeah,
introducers. So it's cool. Like it's like those plants that are a little bit out of spec don't just go in the dumpster. They get called out, they create a collection, and just like Westhoff's crazy tunias. Like there
yeah,
is no rhyme or reason. Like they are not bench run. Some are mounding, some are trailing, some are like I don't even know what the shape is, but it's amazing orange color. So it's
yeah.
gonna come to market. So yeah, right. Moving on, number 9. This is one where I'm like, some of these I don't even believe, but brand storytelling over specs. Like with a car? I don't know. Automakers sell identity, lifestyle, and culture as much as hardware in an increasingly commoditized market. We can debate whether or not cars do that, but the way I was like, how does this translate to our industry? But to be like honest, I think is product positioning over full new series introductions. Like we don't see a lot of full series intros anymore. They could be like a full series upgrade, like
Yeah,
Syngenta a couple years ago has like Delta Pro. Like Delta
yeah,
pansies have been around forever. They're awesome. They upgraded the entire, like, I don't even know how many colors there are, but they upgraded that entire series, call it Delta Pro. Like, that was a full series intro. But I think the breeders have a lot of genetics that might not have caught on because it wasn't really clear how to use them relative to other products in the same category, like dahlias, like angelonia, like coleus to some extent. Like, a coleus isn't just a coleus because there could be a huge landscape coleus or a small combo coleus or a landscape coleus. Like, the same with dahlias. Angelonia is a great example. It used to just be like, here's our angelonia. Now there's like 4 different classifications of angelonia, and some are for quartz, and some are for gallons, and some are for landscape, and some are for containers. Like, dahlia is another one where they're just getting resorted out. So it's like the positioning and the sorting. So you might introduce 1 or 2 new colors, but you've also sorted your entire assortment to make more sense to how it's being used. I don't know if any of that
Well,
resonates with you,
it's a
but we're
lot.
seeing it a lot.
There's a lot there. A lot to unpack. I think I wanna go back from the start. I think cars do that to a
Okay.
certain extent to some people. I think and I'm some people resonate with brands, like you said, the brand storyline, like, I'm a Ford guy. I've never driven a car. I've never owned a car that wasn't a Ford. And
Wow.
I've had
And I just moved away from Ford for the first time with my car, which is a Jeep,
I've had
which is the ultimate brand car, right?
sorry, 5 Ford trucks and 1 Ford car.
When we first
So
met, you were driving a Ranger.
yeah, I had 2 Rangers, and then I had a Fusion in between and 2 50s now
Yeah.
because I got a guy hit me in a hit and run on the freeway, and so I had to buy one a year later, a new one. But yeah, so I think some people align with brand. I also think for cars, like there's as I listened to my wife talk about this, we talked a bit about it last week. Like she does not want to be a minivan mom. She wants to
Right.
be an SUV mom. And
Mhm.
apparently there's a the class, I don't know. I think it's
Mhm.
full of BS. But so I think that I think that I wish she would buy a minivan, but I think that for plants the brand story doesn't correlate.
Okay. Right.
Some brands will try to tell you that, but once that plant is planted, the branding is gone, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
this isn't a shot against Proven Winners, but Proven Winners is the biggest brand example that I can think of in our
Yeah.
industry from a plant perspective. Once I plant that Proven Winners plant in my garden, that Proven Winners pot that says PW on the
Yeah.
side probably goes in the recycling
Mhm.
or trash, depending on the state you're in. And so that gets lost. But I
Right.
think from a product where you were going with it, I can see that. Like back when the last time I went, I was running spring trials. I think it might have been the year that Pan American Seed launched Kabloom, the
Yeah.
Calibracoa, and they had
Capricorn.
like a color, and then they were waiting. It was like we need at least these 4 colors to
Mhm.
launch, and
Yeah.
so they waited and waited to launch it. And then, but now, like you might see somebody launch with 1 color or 2
Mhm.
colors of something that's really cool,
Yeah.
and then wait for more colors down the road because it truly is about if the plant fits, launch it.
Yeah.
So that's where, again, it goes back to if there's a need that this plant fills, I think you'll see companies launch them.
And I think I've changed my mind. You're right, because auto brands are all about the personality. Like, I was just thinking about the different car personalities. So I think you're right.
I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah. No, I'll go with it. And maybe, yeah, maybe more
You
so
kind of
than
are
I've
a
ever
Jeep
really thought
guy
about.
too, by the way.
Right.
Like, I
I
feel like
know.
I feel like you transitioned to a Jeep car, but in your life, like, over the last 10 years, you've transitioned to a Jeep
The
guy.
Jeep
Like,
guy.
you're the Iron Man guy now,
Yeah.
and so, like, that's Jeep stuff.
Hmm. No,
I'm the
I
I'm the dad
Jeeps.
loading cinder blocks in the back of my truck. I'm built Ford tough, baby.
Yeah. Well, and I didn't even tell you, but Jenny bought a decal for my car and snuck it on the back of my car. I was at Menards a couple weeks ago, and I walked out and I was going to put something in the back of the car, and I looked down and there is now a decal, and it matches every other decal on my car that says old man edition. And it even has like the little red like highlights, like my Jeep has like red highlights in it in like all the little accessories, and it says old man edition, and it's like a nice decal, like the Jeep logo on the
Yeah.
back or the Trailhawk logo on the back, but it says Old Man Edition. I know, I know.
See,
I
Jenny
was like,
falls into the
What?"
category of that I feel like she would have, like, a souped up minivan. Like
Right.
like it'd be like, "Yeah, let's get this
She
has
just
gotta
drives she just drives it like it's got a V8 in it. I mean,
yeah."
oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah. She's
that's
not a
funny.
slow driver. She's a safe driver, not a slow driver. She does not enjoy it when other people drive slow either. So, all right. And finally, number 10 on the list of LA Auto Show storylines is the auto show evolves. LA reinforces its role as a mobility, technology, and policy forum, not just a traditional car show. And I like that. I was thinking about it. And as I read more about the LA Auto Show and all the different kind of groups that it brings together in the sessions and discussions and panels and all that, I thought, okay, I think that's fair to say that California Spring Trials evolves also. Part of it's just by the sheer number of people who go, which is not at its highest right now. Maybe the quality of attendee is quite high, but California Spring Trials reinforces its role as an event for thought leaders and industry shaping visionaries, is what I'm saying.
Mm.
Not just a show for new flowers and plants, because there are other opportunities to see them throughout the year. So
Yeah.
I think that it's always been a networking, social kind of catch up, with people you might only see once a year. And you brought it up before as the fact that it used to be a very global and international
Yeah.
event. Less so now, I think, for various reasons. But I think it really is now where whether you're in distribution or young plant production, or you are aligned with one of the mass market stores or big landscape firms, whether you're in a IGC peer group, like there are groups that still attend spring trials in big numbers, but it tends to be a lot of the discussions, you might be seeing a plant for the first time, but chances are you might have seen it before in a trial. You might have even trialed it in your own greenhouse. And you're there to talk the ins and the outs, to talk to the person who bred the plant, to talk to the product manager who's seen trials all around the world of this plant, and to really get the full story behind it and talk numbers, I think, at some level.
Yeah, and I think I'll say this, I think some of this is already happening, and a credit to Diane and the folks at NGB.
Mhm.
This is the most that I have seen and heard of spring trials since I've been out of the plant side.
You mean like leading up to the event and
Yeah.
the media following? Yeah.
Yeah. And now again, I came on with JR Peters in 2020. So it's like
Mhm.
COVID. So I leave the plant side, COVID hits, and then you have the 2, 3 years of COVIDness. So maybe that's a piece of it too. But I think that there is again a hype around spring trials. And I don't think it is entirely on the new varieties. I think people are itching for how do we make the industry better.
Mhm.
Um from the plant side. And like even me and I was talking with Eric over at Biosafe, he's a good buddy. I was spitballing because he's going to go to a couple stops.
Okay.
And I was like, hey, because we work with them on things, and we sponsor a party at Cultivate together. I was like, maybe there's something for us non-plant people to, and I'm a plant person, but non-plant
Right.
companies to do at spring trials. Maybe there's a way that we have a role there because there's a lot of people there. There's a lot of industry excitement. How do we come in and help this event? I don't want to just add noise to the event, but
Mhm.
how do we, is there something to where we can help make this bigger, and getting more participants makes this event something, because I think, as you said, I think participation, not that it's drastically down, but it's expensive to fly to California if
Right.
you're living on the East Coast. So like good
Yeah.
numbers go down, but maybe,
It's really
is there,
expensive to travel if you live in Australia or Korea
yes.
or the UK.
And so, like, that's where, like, I was spitballing ideas on, like, are there ways for us to help evolve this event? So I think that is happening, and it's already in the works. And the other piece of that, I think this is more aspirational of what I would hope would happen is, and we have talked about this and hinted at it on other podcasts. An event that I think recently just wrapped up, it might even still be going on as of this filming, but is the Philadelphia Flower Show, right?
Mhm.
A totally consumer event. And it's the biggest consumer flower show in the country.
Mhm.
And I wonder, like I always wondered, how do you tie those 2 together? And that's where I see, like, an aspirational evolution of California spring trials is
Mhm.
how do you take now because growers, in a lot of cases, have seen these introductions for 3 years,
Yeah.
advanced trials, another trial year, okay, here's what they've seen behind the curtain at a certain event.
Mhm.
How do you tie that in to get more consumer excitement
Yeah.
from new varieties? They're coming out like, hey, like everybody knows about the new Apple iPhone months before it launches. Everybody knows
Mhm.
about the new video game years before it finally wraps up. Movies get trailers 10 months in advance.
Yeah.
So, from our industry, aside from the busload of garden communicators that come through spring trials, what are like how does the spring trials eventually evolve to where there is a consumer piece of it.
Yeah.
And it might not be in California either. And that's where
Right.
I look at it as like Philadelphia Flower Show. How do you tie in with that? Because they have an audience and people come from all over the Northeast and Mid Atlantic. I mean, they come from
Mm.
everywhere, but that's where most of the people come from. Is there a spring trials garden or is there an industry garden at
Right.
Philadelphia Spring or Philadelphia Flower Show
Mhm.
that focuses on new plants for next year? I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know what that looks like. Is it something after spring trials, like a summer tour that different botanic gardens get all of these exhibits of new plant material, which would be terribly difficult to arrange,
Right.
but I think that's the
The
evolution that
exposure would
the
be
industry
huge.
needs. Yeah.
And you've got to be able to demonstrate the value to a company that is not selling to the end consumer. Like,
Mhm.
why, like it's not hard to convince Dodge to exhibit at the LA Auto Show,
No,
right? Like, yes, they're probably going to have some meetings as well with distributors and dealerships, and, technology companies are going to be there, like hitting them up to, hey, look at our new, screen or whatever. But they're also have, I mean, the audience is consumer. So that's really the difference between spring trials and the LA Auto Show, and where a lot of these sort of disconnects come into play. But I keep thinking about, like, one of the values, and this is going to be controversial. Maybe I shouldn't even say this. One of the benefits of the LA Auto Show is that it's in one building.
so I got you.
And so you can have panel discussions. You can have like big picture thought leadership going on with the person from Subaru, the person from Jeep, the person from Kia, like all there having that discussion. Whereas the blessing and curse of spring trials is that it is at individual locations, which perhaps when you're growing plants and those companies have locations there, it makes a lot of sense. Like, I'm not advocating for one warehouse of plants because I think
I
that
am.
it wouldn't have the it just wouldn't have the vibe. But
I am, but
you
not
could
in the
do
same
both.
sense. All right. You ready for this? Here's my
Let's hear it.
pitch. Okay, California spring trials, generally, you have Southern California, like ball is in Santa Paula. It's not Southern California
Not Southern. Yeah.
necessarily, but
Right.
most people are flying into LAX to get
LA.
there or Oxnard, but whatever. So you have 2 gates.
Can't fly into Oxnard anymore. You're
Okay.
going to LA.
Yeah. So, or what's the one you like to fly into?
Burbank.
Burbank. That was what I meant.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Come on.
So 2 gateways is what I call them. Okay. One closer to LA, one closer to San Francisco.
San Francisco.
Yep. And it is at an event center where you have people, you have your stops, maybe you divvy it in half and half. Send new plant material to those gateways. And that is a consumer facing event
Oh, okay.
where maybe this is where we
So
get
you're still
more,
exhibiting at the other stops too,
and
but
it's
you've just sent a person and plant material to these two gateways.
And I think you have a retail focus so that even for somebody like you, Bill, is that at this gateway event, at this gateway location, it is set up as someone might experience it as a consumer, one either in the wild, like so it's a bed planted, like it's planted in a landscape, or
Or a
2,
garden.
as a display that they would see at retail. And so
Yeah.
you could go in and be like, wow, this is a cool display. And you're like, okay, here's all the consumer hit points that we want to know. And then when you go up the coast, you can follow up and say, hey, we saw this at the gateway. Now
Mhm.
take me through the grower specs. And I think that
Yeah.
would be cool because you get consumers in. And if you divvy it up half and half, you're like an hour and a half max away from each
Right.
location. And I think the attractive part is that, and to give more press to the people behind the plants, is that you got 4 days, 5 days, you divvy it up and say, hey, listen, ball, or not ball because there's 8 companies, whatever. You say, hey, Pan American Seed, we would like to feature you on one of these days and have a
Right.
session for all of the people coming in. Like, we want such and such plant breeder to come down and talk about, like, what is it? What does petunia breeding look like to the consumer? And so they can kind of have a celebrity day to do that. And I think that that could be something really cool, and it ties it all together. And that gives maybe people that, like me, and especially, I guess maybe I didn't even think about it from this standpoint, but especially like me, where we have consumer fertilizer plus grower fertilizer, but I don't have a home.
Right.
But it gives me a
But you'd
place
be
to
there.
set up. Yeah. Is that, hey, I could catch growers coming in, because I think you'd still want growers to see the retail, how this looks at retail, or
Oh
how
yeah.
it looks
Some of them would
in,
want to. A
and it,
good portion of them would want to.
and it may not be a 6 hour stop, but it may
Right.
be,
No,
hey, we're going to
it
pop
couldn't
in
be.
for an hour and then we're going to
Yeah.
go on. And then I could say, hey, listen, like, great to see you, great to catch up, like
Right.
whatnot. And so it gives some suppliers an at home. Oh, I
I
don't know.
like that idea.
I think it's a cool idea.
No, I'm in, and I think Greenhouse GH Squad podcast will sponsor the beef Wellington.
A
We're
thousand.
in. No, I like that idea. I'm gonna ask. So here's what I'm gonna ask at spring trials. I'm gonna say, "What do you think of the gateway idea?" And when they're like, "What the hell are you talking about? The
Yeah,
gateway idea?" I'm gonna then hold up a QR code
episode
to this
16.
podcast to be like, "Got to listen to the last 2 episodes. It'll make total sense." And then we'll move on to what does this plant do? Seriously, it's a red geranium. What does it do? It's not a pinto. How is it better than pinto?
It can't be. It'll
Can't
never
be.
be topped.
Nope. Nope. All right. I like it. I like that we made it through all 10 of the LA Auto Show storylines. I think that it just proves that our industry is not this oddball unicorn industry. Like,
No.
we have trends, we have challenges and strengths and, ability to reach end consumers and a need for a strong supply chain, a belief in technology, and also a grassroots way of doing business. Sustainability is not a trend that's unique to us, but certainly one that we are positioned well to capitalize on. And we have good stories to tell and great products and great people. And a lot of them all come together at California Spring Trials, where I will be in 2 weeks reporting back as soon as I get back. I will report back on the GH Squad podcast and we can discuss
So you're
the
not on the
trend.
setup crew anymore.
No, no. I
They
loved
still have
setup.
us.
Setup was like summer camp. It was hard work, man. Those were the
Great.
longest days, 30,000 step days. I remember when they used to move the pallets of cinder blocks to the walkway in Santa Paula. It would just be like, we would just have a assembly line of, people who normally wear polos and khakis just sweating, wearing ripped jeans and t-shirts and just moving and setting this thing up. It was awesome.
The
It was
best
like
part was when
great
people would
moment.
start getting crazy and throwing the cinder blocks.
Yeah. Not good. Not good. All right. I want to wrap this up in a few minutes because I need to take my youngest daughter and her friends to a anime convention, and it's yeah, that'll be interesting. Any shout outs or hot takes?
I got two.
I want to give one shout out to all the people in our industry who travel globally and still figure out how to get back and get to work jet lagged. I was talking to an industry friend this week, and she had been to Japan and Korea and was back for like less than 24 hours and just right back on it, helping growers solve problems. And I was like, man, you are a machine. She was like, yeah, been doing it a long time and this is just what we do. So shout out to folks who travel the world and still get back to solve problems and work extra hard.
Yeah, no, that's all. And as I get older, that is more of a struggle than I'd like to admit. I feel like in my 20s, I was just like, at ball, and people were like, "Can you go do this?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
I would do flights, one day trips to California, and now I'm
Right.
like,
I'll take a
that's
red eye
insane.
back. I'll be fine. I'll be in the office the next day. Like, whatever.
And I'd land at like 10 a.m., go see
Mhm,
a grower, take a red eye out of LAX. So I
mhm.
just people would be like, "Oh, you get to go see California," and I was like,
Yeah.
"Well, I only saw 10 hours of it. Like, I don't know what
Right.
to tell you."
Yeah, I ate In-N-Out Burger in the car on my way back to the rental car agency. It
But,
was a mess.
yeah. All right, I got 2 shout outs.
That's Aaron.
First shout out is spring trials related. I think it's still there. I Googled it a few weeks back. A shout out if you're passing through Ventura, you gotta go to Spencer McKenzie's, which is
It's still there.
it's a little kind of like fish taco shack,
So
but you gotta get the ahi pocket, which is like
mm,
this like I don't even know how to describe it, but it's like a little like pita pocket type deal that's got ahi in it and a slaw and like an amazing sauce, delicious. And if you get fish tacos, it's not bad either. But
I would
Spencer,
say we eat there every single year. In fact, I have a hat from Spencer McKenzie's that I should have worn. Maybe I'll wear it on our recap. But
right,
I've not had the ahi pocket. I've had them. I mean, fish tacos. I will eat a lot of them.
1,000.
1,000.
The sad part is,
Agreed. That's a great shout out, Spencer McKenzie.
I
Yeah,
wish I would
you're
have
in and out. You're
discovered
in
it
and out of
sooner.
there in 35 minutes.
Yeah,
But the food is absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, it's like a fish taco shack.
yeah. And the
I
sad
thought you
part
were gonna
is,
shout out Golden China. I was like, that's gone, bro. They
that was
they
gonna be my
tore
next
that
thing.
thing
It
to
was
the
like
ground.
an RIP Golden China,
Sad,
the
sad.
best karaoke establishment that I've ever been to,
Yeah, 7 days a
also
week karaoke. That's crazy.
AKA Star Wars bar.
Yes.
Never know what you'll see. But yeah, my other shout out is non-spring trials focused, and it's a shout out not to myself, but to all the folks at America in Bloom and all the
Mm,
communities in America in Bloom. So this is our 25th year, and I talk about it a lot. But I got word today that we this year will have the most communities in the program ever.
ever?
Yes, we have over
Are you
50 communities
serious?
in the program. Yes.
Oh wow.
So, yeah, it's I people always ask me like, "What's new with American Bloom?" And I'm like, A lot. There's a lot going on. We got a
Mhm.
lot of different moving pieces happening. We're working on some big changes, and the team, Laura and all the board members there as well, making big things happen, and only good things to come. So shout out to that because, and if you're keep an eye out, our symposium this year is in DC, 250 for America,
250.
25 for AIB. It's going to be a blast.
Yep. No, that's cool. I would never have guessed that you had the most communities ever this year. That's awesome. That really
Yeah.
is. That says a lot for the how the dedication of America in Bloom. Love it. Absolutely love it. All right, I'm gonna say nay on hot takes because I feel like quitting big boxes to China was a hot take enough, and talking about putting spring trials in a convention center is are pretty much hot takes and probably gonna get us some comments. So feel free to comment. We want to hear your comments on both of those
We got to add,
controversial discussions.
we do have to add one more shout out, by the way, because
Okay.
we're
So Seth,
terrible partners if we're not going to do it.
yeah, shout out to Seth.
Well, and a shout out to Seth. We didn't even talk about this. Seth is
Yes.
not here. He is alive. He is well. He
Mhm.
is taking his daughter to a high school basketball game. Their high school made it to the state finals for basketball. So
Yep.
shout out to, I'm thinking it's Caneland High School for making it to the state
Maybe.
tournament. But yeah, I guess we totally glossed over that. You were like, yeah, it's just two of us. And then we never talked about Seth again. Didn't
Yeah.
even get a
Shout
chance
out
to
to
make fun of
Seth
him.
for being an awesome dad.
Yeah.
Daughter trip to a basketball game is absolutely huge. And yeah, those kind of moments mean a lot.
Yep.
And Seth's a good guy and good dad.
Yep.
So shout out to our boy.
Miss you, man.
Good team.
Miss you, Blue.
Yeah, maybe he'll get down on the court. I can totally see Seth hustling his way down onto the court and like shooting a half court shot or something. He would miss.
I'd pay.
He would
I'd
miss.
pay big money. He's
I
also the
would.
kind of guy that I feel like would wind up on the court on accident somehow, like, go buy a hot dog and be like,
What am I?
where am I?
They're like, why did he just catch the inbound pass? Oh, that's good. That's good. Well, I think we did good, just the two of us. We do miss Seth. I'm not sure if we'll be recording next week or not. I'm not going to be recording. So if you and Seth want to give it a
Yeah, we'll
shot,
have to figure it out because you're the man behind the gears, but,
yeah. So
we'll
if
try to figure
not,
it out.
we'll circle back and in week. I think that if we miss next week, it'll be week 13, and I will be in California. So we'll get some. We'll go live. We'll be
Okay.
man on the ground,
All
boots
right.
on the ground in Cali. All right, and to our listeners, thanks for watching. And as I keep repeating, we want to connect. Comment. What do you think about these LA Auto Show storylines and spring trials. Tell us some of your spring trials memories. You can watch us on YouTube and Spotify, listen on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music. Nobody listens on Amazon Music. Like, I look at it every week and I'm like, wow, one person listened on Amazon Music. It's probably my grandma.
It's
She's
Jeff
like,
Bezos.
Alexa, play the stupid podcast with my grandson. But the best way to get in touch and find out what we're up to is following us on Instagram at GH Squad Pod. Reach out to us individually. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow, and all that good stuff. Be a friend, tell a friend about the GH Squad. And we'll be back either next week or the week after.
All
Bye,
right.
Mason.
See you guys.